Hello guys, welcome to another video. And in this video, we are going to be talking about the reason why, when I say that most of the time, the religious people, when it comes to people who believe in whatever religion, okay, and it doesn't even limit to religion, it could even mean any deep rooted feeling or deep rooted faith of sorts that you have, that is based on morals, right? Now, what is morality, or else what is morals within this discussion? I will do a separate video on describing and explaining what morality is and where it comes from, how we derive them. Okay, that's a different thing. But for now, what is important for this particular discussion, I'm trying to keep it short. I really don't know how long it will expand, but we are going to start with empathy and sympathy first and foremost. All right. Now, empathy, as explained here, empathy is the ability to deeply understand and share a feeling of another person. It involves putting yourself in someone else's shoes, feeling what they feel, and connecting with their emotions. To basically, this is also described as one of the ways that our early ancestors, right, regardless of whether you believe in evolution or not, we all know, okay, evolution or not, we all know that we had a period where all human beings who were alive at that time, our ancestors, they were living in communities. All right, even if you believe that everything came from Adam and Eve, no problem. Even after Adam and Eve, there was a period where all of the descendants of Adam and Eve were living as communities, separate communities. None of them had anything in common. Most of the time, they were warring with each other, going on wars with each other for territory. But still, it is an actual event, an actual period. The same way, we also have, when if you do believe in, or else rather, do you if you do accept that evolution was something that actually happened, then still, as part of our evolution, there was time when we were being in territories, we were being in small societies, and we were in communities. So during that time, empathy was one of the reasons why these communities stick together. These communities wanted to stay together other than disbanding, because they had a group of people who were empathetic towards their own group. And because of that, if any one of them was in trouble, there was many who could help them and who could share that pain with them and give some sort of belongingness, and give them a root to stay by. All right. The same way, sympathy is recognized as the acknowledging of another person's suffering, but without fully sharing the emotional experience. Okay. So here you can see that there are key differences. Empathy is feeling with someone. So something happens and you're feeling with them, like you are experiencing what they experience. Sympathy is feeling for someone. All right. So sympathy is when you have someone who's suffering and you see that, and you're sad that they have to go through that. Okay. So in the same scenario, if it was empathy, then it would mean that you see someone who's going through something and you feel the exact same feeling that person is having because of that. So for example, another very easy example. So you're going on the road and you see someone get hit by a car. Okay. So empathy is you feeling that exact same pain as that person who got hit by the car. Okay. That is empathy. Sympathy is you feel sorry for that person because he got hit by a car. You don't feel the pain, you don't feel the emotion, you feel for that situation what happened. All right. So given this breakdown, okay, what I find most baffling and most what I feel most needed to be scrutinized is the fact that religion, okay, which is uh, which is one of the biggest things that at this point uh, is around the world, and is leading the charge, saying that we strive for empathy, or we strive for sympathy, or we are the institution that is guarding them, that is talking about them. Like, okay, whatever happens, okay, whatever situation it is, you always find that religious people, faithful people, are the first to jump in, either to get an excuse for spreading the message of God there, or trying to institutionalize and take the advantage of the situation, or because they think that they are the most empathetic or the most sympathetic people available within that situation. Whatever it is, they lead the charge. They acknowledge that they themselves are empathetic or sympathetic. All right. So empathy and sympathy is not something that is universal, in the sense that it is something, sorry, my bad, it is something universal in the sense that you cannot exclude people from empathy or sympathy. All right, if you say that it is one of your core identities, right? So what do I mean? So imagine uh, some something happens to a person who's a close relation to you. Okay, you feel empathetic, you feel sympathetic. All right, so that's a common thing, that's a natural thing. But if you say that I am one of the most empathetic people, or if I am one of the most sympathetic people, then of course your feeling of empathy and sympathy should go beyond the scope of just viewing your people. Yes, baby. Okay, I know. I'll come. I'll come. I'll come. So, it, if it is only, like, if you're only feeling empathetic or sympathetic towards the people of your own home, of your own family, then that means actually not that you're empathetic or sympathetic, but that you're selfish. Okay, but that you're selfish, and that you only feel this feeling to the people who belong to your group. Okay, and if someone is coming to you from a different group, from a different group, then of course what happens is you're going to overlook those people, you're going to overlook them, you're going to overlook their their spectrum, their feelings and their sorrows, and you're going to ignore them. Okay, so that is not a part of being human, that is not a part of being a good human, at least. All right, like, if you're only going to use empathy and sympathy as the reason why you are vouching or you are there for a person, all right, like for yeah, if you're using that, and then you're going to exclude another group of people because of any reason whatsoever, then that means you are actually not empathetic, you are selective in that process. So the ability to feel empathy and the ability to be empathetic and the ability to feel sympathy and the ability to be sympathetic, if you are going to phrase it as we are universally, so, like, we are advocates of that core attribute, then it cannot have borderlines, it cannot have mandates, it cannot have a framework, it cannot have any reason to exclude another person or an animal in that case. Okay, all right, I guess you understand what I mean. If I had to put it, just imagine like this. So there's a war going on. All right, let's say this war is between Syrian. It's a Syrian war. All right, and you have everybody helping everyone from both sides. Even if you are in the side of the Syrians, or if you are not in the side of Syrians, you are on the side of the people who are attacking them. All right, so you either you pick sides and help or else vouch for them, or you don't pick sides and you still see, like, there are people from both sides. All right, okay, now imagine a church who's collecting money for the Syrian people. So they say, okay, Syria is being under attack like this, blah 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 blah, and they do that. All right, fine. So, and they go there, okay, they help these people, but then after some time they're going to say, you see, you pray to Allah, but Allah doesn't seem to care about you. All right, all this shit is happening to you, so it is only us from Jesus who was sent here to take care of you, to give you medical aid, and to do all these things for you. We are providing you food and shelter in your worst time of need. So actually, why don't you join the true God, the one true God? Okay, this type of things happen. So when someone from the media or someone from any other uh, non-aligned community or organization comes and questions, what is this backwards thing that you're doing, like why are you using this adverse scenario that has happened to these people for your gain in order to increase your popularity? What you say is, no, we have done this because of our empathy and because of our sympathy, and they themselves are the ones who are choosing to join us, so we can't say no. Okay, so this is how they hide behind empathy and sympathy and try to spread their agenda. Okay, so if we are to believe that your claim about empathy and sympathy being one of your core attributes and the reason why you are doing all this charity work, all right, if we are to believe that, then your empathy and sympathy shouldn't just stop at that, and it shouldn't include people who don't view your religion as the number one religion or your god as the first god that they should worship. Okay, there are so many people in Africa who are dying and who are being killed, okay, for various reasons, and not just in Africa, even in my country and countries neighboring to us, who are extremely religious and has a big and very rooted culture and tradition. Okay, these people are hard to turn with whatever religion and rules and regulations they believe in. So these people, they will never bow their heads down to any different god. Okay, they are born to these families from these religions, and most of them die in these religions and families and traditions. So there's no reason for them to leave, or there's no reason for them to actually even think about leaving. So in a case like that, in a situation like that, all right, how can your empathy and sympathy exclude them? Like, if they're suffering, shouldn't you help them? Shouldn't you be there for them? And shouldn't it be conditional, in the sense like you give them help, but then the minute they second guess about their faith, you're going to pounce on them like a tiger waiting until their prey gets near. Okay, and then try to explain to this family about some different god and try to convert them. Like, that's an agenda. I don't see any empathy, sympathy, or humanity in a situation like that. Like, I have a lot of friends. Okay, I have a lot of friends from different backgrounds and are from different cultures and from different religions. I have friends from Islam. I have friends from Christianity. I have friends from Catholicism. I have friends from Buddhism. All right, I have close friends from all these places. So when these people, they come to me and ask me, hey bro, you see, something like this happened to me, and I actually don't know why I am even praying to this god. Like, when I wanted them, they weren't there. Okay, situations like this, a lot of people come to me like that. All right, and they think, at the first glimpse of them saying this, I'll be like, hey bro, all this shit is stupid, it's bullshit, it's not there, god is not there, blah, ha, ha. Just laugh it off, come join atheism. Most people think that's what my answer will be, but it is not, because I have studied all these situations, and then only I came to the conclusion of whatever it is that I have concluded to. So therefore, whenever and whomever comes to me from whatever religion, if I have any background in it, alright, the first thing I do is I give them the answer from their religion itself. Alright, like, I can argue any Catholic, any Muslim, using only their religious texts and nothing more and nothing less. I don't need science to argue with you. Alright, I'm not like other atheists or other agnostics. Alright, if you're coming at me with experience, I'll come at you with experience. I'll match you tip to tip. So anyways, so these friends, they come to me and they say all these things. Like, I have never asked any of my friends to join atheism or agnosticism or any belief for that matter. Alright, so if you're a Buddhist friend of mine and you come to me saying, okay, these are my questions and I need answers, I'll give you answers. I'll give you the correct, or the assumed correct answer from the scriptures itself, and then I'll make you convinced that that is it, and then I'll help you out. Alright, and if you want something beyond that, I'll explain to you the science behind it, I'll explain to you the situational context behind it, I'll explain to you the history behind it, but still, I never in 1,000 years will my mouth utter the words, why don't you come and join us? Because that is very backwards, that is backstabbing. Okay, faith and admirability for any subject, for any rule, any relationship, all right, anything should come genuinely from the bottom of a person's heart rather than by being pursued or persuasion in that case. Okay, so that is why I don't believe in conversion, I don't believe in acquiring a different faith, I don't believe in these things. Okay, either you are born to religion and you follow that, or you find a different religion because you believe something, because you have an experience, because you have the faith for it, and therefore you take that journey on your own without the aid of any religious advisors or anything like that. You do your own research. This is one of the reasons why I actually believe that if there was one a religion that is a one true religion, right, it is most likely going to be a Eastern adjacent religion, and I have almost all my money betted on Buddhism. Okay, there are other religions which are doing what they should do far better than Buddhism, but they are not mainstream enough. People can't actually relate to it because they are actually in the extreme. Okay, and the example is going to be the Jains, Jains, right? Give a search about them and you will find out why they are considered extreme in the sense they're extreme on the end of not harming, like they harm themselves to not harm others. So that is why it's considered a little bit of extreme. So Buddhism is a good balance between everything. All right, so in Buddhism, the rules and regulations aren't stipulated in such a way to make sure that people don't leave the religion or people don't come to it. It is rather a personal understanding. Like the main teacher, the main scripturer, right, the main spiritual leader of this group of Buddhism is Lord Buddha. All right, you call him Lord because he attained something special, and that is 100% knowledge based. So just like you would call your teacher sir, this Lord means he's superior to you in knowledge rather than spirituality or God or do any of those stupid shit. Okay, so it is a staplement of respect rather than adoration. So that is why they call him Lord. All right, so you don't have to call him Lord, you can just call him Buddha, no problem, because you and Buddha doesn't share anything related to knowledge in common. So until you start to learn the things that you have to learn, until you do so, you don't need to call him anything. Just like a teacher who teaches in a different school is not your teacher, so you don't have to call them sir for any reason. But if you are learning under this teacher, then of course you need to call him sir or madam, right? Just like that. So one of the things that this person Buddha has said is that if you feel like you want to worship me, or worship me in the sense the religion, okay, the teachings, if you feel like you want to worship and go through these teachings and come to certain understanding or come to a certain enlightenment or the process, if you want to get enrolled in it, all right, what you need to do is first you need to think. You have to do your own research. Don't do it because someone else is telling you, okay, do it like this. Don't do it because you see me telling people how to do it. No, not even me. Don't even believe me. Okay, don't even believe anyone else's. Don't even believe the institution. Don't even believe the acts we do. Like if you see several monks or Buddhists getting together and doing some, let's say a charity work and alms giving or something like that, and you fall in love with that aspect, the charity aspect of it, don't be, because that is actually coercing you to join us. Okay, that is not something that actually will genuinely give birth to a feeling in you. So don't do that. Even if you see that and even if you feel like you should join us because of that one specific thing, the best thing to do is ignore it. Go study our religion, go study our history, go study why we do what we do, go study what we mean by these different words that we use in our religion, in our faith, in our understanding, in our establishment. And then if you then still feel like, okay, that's a good thing, now go and check our competitors, see what people are telling about us, see what people are saying that we lack, and try to find an argument as to why the feeling that you feel, the feeling of trying to join us, is the feeling that is going to trump everything else. And once you have found that one reason why you actually want to join us, then you do it. And then also still, until the end of your life, you should question it. Don't do anything because an authority is telling you to do so. There is nothing that is going to destroy your life rather than licking the authority's balls. This is what Lord Buddha has said. This is what Lord Buddha is asking all his pupils, all his disciples, all his followers to go through. And I know not all people are doing that, but still, okay, it is an open invitation to anyone to come test, do your hypothesis, do your research, and then join only if you feel like it. Okay, and even after joining, that's the beauty, there's no condition, okay, that says you need to lick my balls and worship me all the time and daily, because otherwise I will not love you, and therefore you will not be able to attain nibbana or else attain heaven. There's no teaching like that. It is open, anyone can come, anyone can go. It is solely based on what you feel like and how strong of a faith or reason you have. Okay, and rather than faith, they actually work on evidence. They actually work on your inner ability to associate with the religion rather than faith. Okay, there's nothing faith related when it comes to Buddhism most of the time. Okay, so in this institution, okay, I find a lot of sympathy and empathy, because it is talking about sympathy and empathy at large. Recently I did a video based on what is the actual notion of being good is, like what does it actually mean to be good. Okay, how should it come out of genuine belief and genuine feeling based on empathy and sympathy, rather than trying to protect a religious mandate. Okay, like just check the Bible, like you will see a lot of killing, sanctioned killing by God and other religious authorities. And the main reason why they are murdering these people is either because these people don't believe in our God, worship different gods, and therefore is sinful, considered sinful, or these people are opposing religious or opposing tribes that are trying to destroy this particular tribe, and therefore God is asking these people to go and kill them because they are considered sinful. And people who are homosexuals are considered sinful. People who are doing absurd types of worships like human sacrifice and stuff like that, they are considered sinful, and therefore death is the answer that God has. But in actuality, if empathy and sympathy was the core teaching and was the core understanding or the foundation on which your religion, your faith is based on, then there would be no reason for you to murder a person, because your first instinct would be to understand and try to explain to them how that is not the way. Okay, and before you tell me that okay, to these years ago, when these people were only hunter gatherers and societies and groups, they were all like not educated enough, and therefore anything that you like try to do, these civil discussions like this, civil discourse like this, will not be sufficient enough, and that these people will not be educated enough to understand it. Bro, Buddha said the same thing many years ago. All right, he said the same thing before Jesus said it. All right, so he didn't care, and it turned out fine. All right, it turned out fine. Okay, you don't see Buddhist people going and murdering other people because they don't believe in Buddhism. There's no reason like that, because in the religion itself, murder is banned regardless of what the excuse you are going to give them is. Like, you have no right to take a life. Doesn't matter if the other life that you're trying to take out is trying to kill you. Like Jesus said, forgive your enemy, but nobody does, right? If the statement forgive your enemy is true, then the first person God needs to forgive is Satan, isn't it? isn't it? But you don't see that happening. Okay, you don't see that happening because there are conditions, and conditionally you can exempt most of the rules. But in Buddhism you can't do that because these rules are universal to every Buddhist, and there are no conditions or conditional situations that will exempt you from any of these sins that they classify. Like for example, you cannot murder anything and anyone. Okay, like you cannot harm any sentient being, not even murder. You can't harm. So if the word is you can't harm, then that means nothing from the point of pinching and causing distress to the point of taking a life is permitted within this faith. So say for example, a Catholic is coming to kill you and you're a Buddhist. Can you kill them in self-defense? Legally you can, but in Buddhism you can't. You can't. There's no reason, there's no justification, because they believe whatever is happening to you is happening for a reason. And if someone is trying to kill you, then the best course of action you can do is let them do it, because they don't believe in just one life. They believe in a multiple, like a multiverse type of lives, like they respawn. So them murdering you is going to take some like they are trying to do that because you might have done something in the equal depth or equal gravity towards them in a different life, and therefore by letting them take your life, or else in this situation not fighting back, okay, what you're allowing is that particular sin that you have committed in your previous life to be scratched out of your list. Now you're one sin less from attaining heaven. So in the next life, you will, let's say you started with 100 sins, then the next life you're starting with 99 because you left this one out. So that's the understanding. However absurd you find it, okay, however absurd you find it, right, it is still far better than the excuse everybody else is giving. Because if you go on, okay, because these people are sinful, therefore I can kill and do all this stuff, then what you're making is you're making a situation where anything can happen. But if you're starting out with something as absolute and universal as you cannot kill no matter the reason, then the more Buddhists you have, the less killings you will find. Like that's the understanding. Okay, like a Buddhist extremist will not be a person planting bombs and killing people and shouting but peace be to Buddha or something like that. Okay, that is not the understanding, that is not the education that they have been given, and that is not the way they are raised. Alright, so if you're actually a religion of peace, you should mostly align with Buddhism and other Eastern adjacent religions rather than the Western ones. So anyways, empathy and sympathy, if you're really empathetic and sympathetic, and if the foundation of your religion is actually empathy and sympathy, then it should be the driving force and it should be the driving mandate of your religion, rather than preserving your litigious, your religious rules and regulations and traditions. Okay, like Christians and Muslims will not waste a second trying to punish and condemn and murder people who are bashing and going against their gods, like people who defy, people who deny, and people who make fun of. Okay, you make fun of a Buddhist, you think they will slap you, they will try to hunt you down or kill you like that? No, because they can't do it within their own religion. If they have to do it, then they have to leave their religion and do it. Like that's the only way to do it. So the point that you leave your religion to go out and kill a person, then you are no longer associated with that religion, and therefore what you do does not fall into that religion's mandate. Okay, so that's the only way. If you have to do it, you have to do it, but even like that it is not happening. Okay, so this is why empathy and sympathy should be given priority when it comes to any situation, any anything, right? If humanly we are talking, empathy and sympathy should be the driving force for any and all, and the foundation for any and all human encounters. And if that is the case, then actually we will have a better world. And therefore out of all the religions, the only religion that seems to be headed that way, that seems to be pushing that narrative of empathy and sympathy being the core foundation for any human interaction, is actually the Eastern religions, and mainly Buddhism. So regardless of how much Catholicism or Islam or any other uh, third religion that hides behind empathy and sympathy try to pose themselves as empathetic or sympathetic, it's all just a facade. Like, dig deeper, you know where the money is coming from. So you will not find that in Buddhism, and that is the most genuine thing that should happen. Like, genuinely you should help a person because you genuinely feel like you should help them. You genuinely feel empathetic and sympathetic, not because of any religious mandate or any reason that is religious. Like, even if the reason why you're doing it is because you want to attain heaven, then that too is what you say, that too is an agenda. That too is a an ulterior motive, and no ulterior motive is genuine. No act that comes out to satiate an ulterior motive is genuine. Therefore, if you want to be genuine, genuine thought should be generated from within you without any reason. If it has a reason, and if it is tied to any religious or personal reason, then you're either selfish or you're just doing it for your religion, and not because you yourself is a genuinely sympathetic or empathetic person. So therefore, before you call yourself or label yourself as empathetic or sympathetic because of Jesus Christ or because of Allah, alright, think again, because you're not. You're just a poser. You're just either you're selfish, alright, or you're just religious. There's nothing else to you other than those two identities. So think again, boys. Think again. Empathy and sympathy are important, are one of the main important emotions that we learn about, are one of the main important and driving understandings and driving emotions, states of mind that we have developed so that our group can survive. And if that stipulation is somehow again conceptualized and condensed into within conditions, and the more conditions you have, the less actually you're empathetic or sympathetic, because you're excluding people that otherwise should be encompassed under the umbrella term or else the protection of empathy and sympathy. Therefore, be wise, think twice and thrice. Bye.